Hey there, StarCraft fans! It's Falcon Paladin coming at ya with yet another edition of StarCraft Brood War Remastered! Today, it's going to be a match between eonzerg and Flash here on Overwatch. This is from ASL number 8. ASL Season 8, Africa Star League, which just means it was played in 2019, and this replay is the most current Brood War replay on this channel. This is all thanks to Squeal of Fortune. If you remember that name, it's pretty much because he made Cheese compilation number 3 possible. Man, that compilation was so good, featuring players such as Yellow, Hwasin, Flash, and Effort. I think Effort was in there. Anyway, my goodness gracious, let's get right on into this. In the top left-hand corner, we have the Teal Terran player. It is Flash. And in the bottom right-hand corner, it is the purple Zerg player, eonzerg, going under the name Jose Luis Mora Diaz, which, sure thing, I can roll with that. Anyway, APMs are nuts in the early stage here on Overwatch. Have I ever cast a game on Overwatch before? Let's find out real quick. I don't know. It seems familiar. It seems pretty standard, honestly. Although, where's your natural? Here's your nat. Kind of big to wall off. A little bit annoying for Terran and Protoss. Third base appears to be down here. Yeah. 2 ways in and out, which is a little bit annoying. But again, that's a third base. It's going to be hard to take. Some minerals only expansions, but I can't imagine really ever get taken on this map. And then there's other places to expand. This is a 2-player map, as there's not a natural in the other 2 corners to speak of. So pretty good. I like this tile set quite a bit. I kind of wish we had the snow maps a little bit more. Ooh, are we overpooling here? We are overpooling here from eonzerg. So he's either going to be a little bit aggressive or he's planning on some kind of aggression out of Flash. We'll see on the gas timing if he's planning on making speedlings, or if instead this is just some early ling pressure that's going to move into some macro style. He's not really trying to kill Flash with it, just trying to slow him down. Which, trying to slow down Flash in the early stages of the game is a good idea. So 6 lings in production here from eonzerg. ASL 8 included other great players like Mini, Rain, Last. Effort actually couldn't play because of his mandatory military service, which stinks a lot. But Best, Sharp, Mong was here, Sakshri, Larva, Jadong played. What an insane lineup. Ridiculous lineup. Sulky was there too. Zealot. The list of players just goes on and on here. Light and Hyuk and Snow and Ample and Jaeyoon. It's insane the number of players involved in this thing, and these are 2 of them. And obviously one of them is Flash, which is so very, very good, and the other one is eonzerg. So links coming across. This is why you SCV scout, ladies and gentlemen, is for this very, very specific reason. Look at him using the SCV to block those just a little bit, giving them some time. Well, he's going to have to pull some SCVs off the line. There you go. Block off the ramp and have a Marine or 2 back here. As many as he can get out. He might have 2 out when all is said and done, but the SCV block is real. They're attacking and blocking. He's moving the wounded SCVs to the back as well as he can. This is a lot of lings, though. There are still 4 lings available. Flash is in trouble as Marine is down. This early game is not looking good. The early stages of this match are looking so bad for Flash right now. 4 lings inside your base is terrible. It's terrible, terrible news. Another Marine comes out. The SCVs are trying to help as much as they can. The Marine goes down, but another Zergling dies. An SCV goes down here too. This is incredibly effective. This is the most effective overpool attack I might have seen on the channel from a Zerg player, but it's eonzerg, so what do we expect? He is stupid good at this game. Flash, again, has the better resume, but eonzerg, younger. And sometimes being younger is a good thing in sports, including esports. Man, another Marine dies. If this was actually a follow-up of some speedling style thing, I think it might have actually worked just to win the game straight up from eonzerg, but as it stands, that was it. Those 6 lings, that was all he was worried about. He obviously got an expansion. He's getting gas now. He's going for a lair. Probably going for those Mutalisks, if I had to guess. Why is there a drone up here? What are you doing? And why are these vultures leaving you alone like that? Okay, now they see you. And now 3 shots later, you're dead. Anyway, there should be a sunken here by the time these vultures shows up. It doesn't have speed. I'm trying to find a good balance between zoomed in too far and zoomed out too far. Which, I don't know. I'm going to try to just focus on generally... Oh my gosh, the sunken's not done. The sunken's not done. There we go. Okay, sunken comes in. And now these drones should live, but at the same time, they can't mine back here because there's a vulture sitting behind the mineral line. Such a great move out of Flash. Right, don't try to get up the ramp. Just sit back here and deny mining on 3 or 4 of these mineral patches on this base. My gosh, all of them but 2 is what we're looking at here. He has to make some lings to deal with that vulture. He doesn't want to throw up another creep colony, that's for sure. As a Hydralisk comes down, so probably going to be lurkers instead of Mutalisks, although there's a Spire on too. I wonder if this is a fake out. I wonder if he's trying to make Flash think this is going to be lurkers when it's going to be Mutalisks. Like, maybe he'll try to take care of the Vulture, right? And maybe try to get this one, too, and then cancel the Hydralisk Den. Or maybe both. Why not? Mutalisk, Lurker. Ugh, expensive. Expensive on 2 bases. I'm just going to say that. But not impossible. C'est pas impossible, as they would say. Vulture Speed coming on in. Not really worried at tanks at this point. Just going to go for Vulture Speed. And I assume we're going to have Spider Mines here soon. But I'm using the classic console now, which... I don't know. I think I might go back to the other one. But just jumping in despite the Sunken. And going to lose... Okay, all but one of the Vultures here. Cruising around inside the main base. Going after probes again. 3 shots to kill a drone. By probe, I mean drone. And then a Hydralisk is out to deal with this super, super annoying Vulture. But he's got speed. He can run. He can kite like a boss. And he has 3 kills already. He's going to get another one. Look at this. Focus it. Focus the wounded one. God, didn't quite get it there. And down. Unfortunately. So it's 20 to 12 workers in favor of Flash right now. That is nuts. You think all the damage done by those early Zerglings from eonzerg? Not enough, man. It was not enough to stop Flash. You hurt him, you slowed him down, but you sacrificed a ton of your early drones to make those lings, and maybe you didn't do enough damage in the long run. It doesn't seem like it anyway. The Vulture follow-up has been incredibly damaging. If eonzerg is sitting on 12 drones. Again, Mutalisks are out, and the turrets do not exist, which is an issue for Flash. He might have, he got into the main base. I guess the turrets are just a little bit late. He's fine. Totally fine with it. This couple Ling Hydra's going to show up. This is such a low econ play out of eonzerg here in the early game. Good grief. Handful of Mutalisks, a Hydralisk, and a Zergling. This is nuts out of him. He was basically gaming and betting on the fact that Flash went for a ton of SCVs, which he did. And that Marine dying is a big deal, but the Goliath. Yeah, already has 2 kills. There's the 1 kill on the Hydralisk. The Muta's flying around trying to find stuff what to do. But look at this. Going for Charon boosters real fast. He's going to deal with these Mutalisks with Goliaths with Charon boosters. Kind of like it. Although a mass Hydra play would trade pretty well against these Goliaths. Mutas are just trying to get as much damage done as they can before they all die. And they're forced to flee. Wow. 13 SCVs? He just killed 6 SCVs there, including the attack on the missile turret, including here, including the Zergling, including this. It's 15 to 13 workers now. That was enough damage. That was a great amount of damage out of eonzerg. Beautiful, beautiful stuff. So he's at low economy, but so is Flash. And again, he went into a lot of Goliaths, which means Hydralisks would be a good idea. And he is working on Hydra speed. So that's going to be fine. But he does have a bunch of Mutalisks here first, trying to take down these turrets. And at this point, I think maybe this is an attempt to fake out Flash and make him think he's going for a bunch of Mutalisks and keep making Goliaths and keep getting Charon boosters. And then it's just going to be Hydras instead. This is a great, great mind game play out of eonzerg. I like it. I like it immensely. Let's see if it works out. He's still just on 15 drones. That's insanity at 8.5 minutes. This is the lowest econ ZVT. This is crazy. This is almost ZVZ levels of low econ. So the problem is, even if you have a lot of Hydralisks, they trade well versus Goliaths, but if there's just a lot more Goliaths than there are Hydras, the Goliaths will be fine. And I think that is what Flash is going for here. I don't know. I don't know, man. The Mutalisk count is still fairly high, still enough to keep Goliaths at home. Look at this. Look at them having the barracks floating over some of these Goliaths so they can't be target fired by the Mutas. That's such a good play. We've seen it a bunch on the channel. It's definitely a standard style thing, but oh man, the Mutas and the Hydras. It's 42 to 36 supply right now. I kind of like this Mutalisk Hydra combo a lot out of eonzerg all of a sudden. He's going for range, but it's not going to be done before this attack commences. There's no reason for it to. And here we go. Hydra's jumping in. Focusing down the missile turret so the Mutas are more effective. Loving that stuff. And then the SCVs are forced to fight and get pulled off the line here too. They're doing some pretty good damage to the Hydra count. Taking some hits there themselves. Just not good for the SCVs, but the Hydra's trying to focus down Goliath. The micro is really good out of Flash. The Mutalisks are all gone though. Wow, it's 34 to 23 supply. The micro with the SCVs getting pulled off to hold was super good. And like I said, that's your good game. If the Goliaths outnumber the Hydras as they did here, that's a good game. Flash wins. I liked the attack out of eonzerg, but the micro from Flash was just too good in the first game of this sneaky twofer. What a beautiful, beautiful game there from Flash. He takes a ton of damage early. He loses all of his Marines. He loses a handful of SCVs. His factory is delayed. It's incredibly annoying. A lesser player would have just straight up died to that, but Flash got rid of the got rid of the Zergling menace, did a counterattack of vultures, and then basically was prepared for both Hydralisks and Mutalisks when it came down to it. Again, Goliath, a bit of a non-standard answer to Hydras, but they'll trade well enough. If you remember the game, I think it was between Advokat and Jaedong I had on the channel recently. The Russian Terran player, Advokat, he went for a bunch of Goliaths against a bunch of Hydras that Jaedong had, and they traded surprisingly well. We don't see it a lot. It's not usually the answer. Tanks just trade so much better against Hydras, especially if they have the support of Vultures and Spider-Mines and stuff. But you can also just go for Goliaths here, Terran players. So let Flash teach you a lesson here in game number 1 of how to do it. And this is how we do it. So at the end of the day, pretty close match. The shorter games usually are, though, 25,000 to 21,000 points. Flash ends up producing nearly as many units as eonzerg does, which is problematic. Killed more, which makes sense. Lost about the same. And then resources here. More gas mine for the Zerg player, which is fine. Obviously, as a ton of SCVs came out of there for Flash, which he ended up losing, but it didn't cost him the game, which is nuts. What a ridiculous game. What an absolutely ridiculous, ridiculous game here from Flash. What do we expect? What do we expect from him? And anything other than this? Nah, I expect excellence from him, and this is what we got. So let's move into game number 2 of the Sneaky Twofer, see if eonzerg can show a little bit better. Again, he had some good ideas, but Flash, just the great micro, the great decision-making, just all the way down the line, kind of outclassed him there. So game 2 coming at you now. Game 2 of our Sneaky Twofer is going to be here on Fighting Spirit. Top right-hand corner, we've got eonzerg. He is red this time. Nope, he's brown. Just the red skin. The red is because I pre-ordered Brood War. World StarCraft Remastered anyway. And I get that question a lot, so that's why. And in the bottom right, we have the red Terran player. It is Flash. Okie dokie, eonzerg, you threw a pretty good swing, a pretty good hit at Flash in that first game. Didn't quite pull it off. I liked your plan, but the SCV micro was just so good. And the SCVs fighting, I didn't mention them very much in my recap there, but man, that made the difference. The SCVs were MVPs of that match. Trying to hold against the Ling attack early, taking a couple Lings down, changing it from a disastrous situation into a manageable situation. And then just the way they jumped on top of those Hydras, eonzerg should have done some kiting there. I think it would have been better for him. Maybe could have kited the SCVs back, killed a couple of them, made it harder for them to help, and then maybe won even. It would have been close, I feel like. Anyway, this is great. Hit the like button if you're enjoying this cast. Just helps the algorithm find me. Hey, remember that cast about 10 days ago where I asked you guys to tell me where you found me? Like, where did you first get introduced to Falcon Paladin and the StarCraft casts? Got a ton of responses, and I think, maybe not coincidentally, that video got like 10,000 views in the first couple days. Which is not usually, that's much faster growth than I usually see on the channel. So, comments are great. Comments, thumbs up, even honestly thumbs down help the algorithm. So any engagement you guys can give me on the channel is going to be good engagement, and I appreciate it. Anything you can toss out your way. Toss a coin to your Witcher, toss a comment to your Falcon, 12 hatch in it. Here is eonzerg, and there goes the barracks on the high ground for Flash. He's not going for a command center first play, too risky against the potential of a pool first play out of eonzerg. The SCV does find the Zerg player, though, sees the pool timing, sees it's about a 12 pool, and then a 10 gas there, and says, all right, all is fine in Zergland. I don't have to worry about Lings trying to kill me for any time, so let's save up the resources, go for an expansion, and call it a day. It's honestly a good start here. So he's building another supply depot back here just to avoid getting supply blocked. And it looks like, there you go, crossing the 200 mineral threshold. We're close. He's going to expand here any second, guys. I'm feeling it in my bones. He's not taking gas. This isn't like one base Vulture style crazy play. This very much feels like expansion timing out of Flash, and we'll keep an eye on it. Yeah, 370. He's not floating that many minerals on accident. The timing works out perfectly. Shows up at 400, bam, tosses it down because this is Flash. This is the guy. We like him a lot. Everyone does. So some Lings in production, and then a very quick lair at exactly 3 minutes from eonzerg. Good gravy, that's a fast lair. SCV sees it, sees the timing. He's been living here for a while. He's taken up second residence inside the Zerg base. He feels as comfortable on creep as it is off of it. And now the Lings are here to try to kill the SCV, but the jukes are so real on this guy. He just tried out for the National Football League, or I don't know, maybe the Champions League or Premier League Soccer, something like that. Something that involves a lot of juking. And is succeeding immensely at it. I mean, he can't really cancel the lair at this stage. Or he could, for the mind games. You could cancel it, but anything you want to do against Flash involves a lair. But whether it's Mutalisks, whether it's Lurkers, you know the drill. Nice timing, getting that Zergling out of there. Great reaction time by eonzerg. Now, what's the follow-up here? Another Barracks, so pretty solid bio play opening here. We're not going to go for any of those silly vultures this time around. And by silly vultures, I mean they really helped him win the game in the last one, so that's not at all an insult that I should be doing. But at this stage, you're going to try to get to Lurkers out. You're going to try to get or 3 Sunkens up, or maybe a combination of both. Or just using your Spire to pick off random Marines straggling on the edge of the periphery as they move across the map. We've seen that game. We've seen that play a few times here in your life of watching StarCraft Brood War. So you don't want to move out, honestly, without the support of medics. That said, oh, there's an academy. There's an academy on the way. So he's going to wait for the academy, and then at this point, you can basically just drone up if you're the Zerg player, and he is. eonzerg is droning up quite effectively. He's already at 22 drones, which is nice for the stage of the game for him. He's got his second gas coming in here, too. And we're going to see the Mutalisks. We're going to see what they do again here in game number 2 of the Sneaky Twofer. And, I mean, Flash is just in a fantastic position. These Lings aren't doing anything. Obviously, they're not intended to. If the Marines moved out unexpectedly, the Lings would, 1, scout them, and 2, move in and try to kill straggling Marines who are trying to join the party. But they're too smart for that. These are Flash Marines that are very intelligent. There's 2 Overlords are heading the same direction, which is weird for scouting purposes. Generally try to avoid that myself in StarCraft, but it is totally cool. eonzerg's way better than I am. And is that another? That's another Barracks. This is a pretty intense bio opening here, which we have seen from time to time. It is time for Sunkens, my friend, like yesterday. 1, you need 3. I'm going to argue for 3 here. I understand you have Mutalisks on the way. Did a Zergling come in? Hey, a Zergling came in. He's dead. Huh. One managed to sneak on in here. The other one's all died. Engineering Bay coming up, which means we'll get turrets. But at this stage, these mutas are defensive mutas. They can't move out across the map right now. They are needed to stay alive in the face of all of these Marines. Oh, is he? Flash patiently pulling back. A third base is coming up on the right side. And the mutas just dash for it, man. They dash down here to the natural base. The timing for Flash is disgustingly perfect, though. And the missile turret pops right at the darn near nick of time. Like, stupidly in the nick of time here. The mutas have to get out. Turrets are fantastic anti-air. If you're dying to Mutalisk attacks, Terran players, figure out your missile turret timings. You gotta know. You gotta know the timings on those. It really depends when that Spire starts coming up. General timing is about 6 minutes is what it looks like, though. So make sure you have an engineering bay first and then start your turrets around there. Love this track. Love this track. Now, the good news is third base is up and running, and that is a sneaky third base. Look, usually your Zerg opponent's going to try to take this as the third up in the top right-hand corner, put some Lurkers at the top of the ramp. No, says eonzerg. I'm going for the more exposed, a little bit more dangerous, but also harder to find third base. Now, is Flash getting tricked here? Does he know? Does he know about this base? Did he scan it? I heard a scan, but it's really hard to tell where the scan landed. Either way, look at this Mutaflock. It's doing all right. I mean, anytime you're standing in there, you're going to do okay. Still, there's only 4 remaining against the 4 remaining Marines. And you would think that 4 Mutalisks could handle 4 Marines, but they have medic support. And they all have full health because of the medics. And all of the Mutalisks are in varying stages. Just kidding. 2 of them are fully healthy. But the injuries are real. Man, I need to go back to the other scan, don't I? Anyway, enough mutas join the party. where everything dies over here. But the third base dies too. Hey, I did scan. I did find your third. And it's done. I'll trade a handful of Marines and a couple medics for your dead third base when I'm on 2 bases and you are on 2 bases. It's a good place for me. So Flash feeling extremely happy about the situation. He's up. He's strong. He is Flash in 2019. And I just don't know if the mutas are going to be able to do anything down here. I mean, these Marines have stim. They're working on +1 attack. There's a bunch of turrets here. If your opponent starts making more than like 5 Mutalisks, you need additional missile turrets to compensate. So that group dies too, which is normally a problem. You don't want to lose your entire army like that. But Flash has another one in reserve. Plus, he killed that third base. That's, again, a victory that will last him a lifetime. Killing a Zerg base at Zerg third at like 7 minutes is the best. Look at these mutas try to get in here. I mean, they're doing okay. They traded 1 Mutalisk for 1 missile turret, which is not a good kill ratio for your Mutaflock when you have 8 of them. So a bunch of Sunkens coming up the natural base, but until there's a third, I don't think Flash even cares. He honestly doesn't even care about getting into that natural base as long as he can deny third bases. And so far, he's done it beautifully. There's been 1, and he's killed it. He just has to survive the Mutalisk attack, and he'll be in a great place. Just don't lose your entire natural base to Mutalisks. That is the game plan right now. There are 9 of them, though. They're doing okay. They're trying to find these little holes. These little holes in the missile turret coverage, but the SCV is doing a fairly good job staying out. Staying out of that hole in the coverage there. More turrets going down. The repair is good. Ah, but 2 turrets down. This is kind of close. This is kind of close, and I think this might be a situation. Man, it's 36 to 17 workers. Are you seriously, eonzerg? He's really cutting workers to do this today. He's getting stuff done, but look at how much Flash can afford to lose workers. It's 36 SCVs to 17 drones. He can lose another 10 SCVs here, and he would still be fine. Anyway, we're pushing up against these Sunkens. A lot of Marines are dying, but there's a lot of Marines still pushing up here. They've got stim. They've got +1 attack. They will tear through that static defense like it is made of tissue paper. The Mutalisks changed in the equation a bit, and the Sunken survives with a whole bunch of kills. So the good news is that eonzerg is alive. The bad news is it's still 35 to 17 total harvesters. It is basically just fully saturated 2-base economy here. Some long-distance mining is happening for Flash because, well, obviously the Mutalisk threat is a problem. Some inefficient mining here too, but he's replaced his missile turrets. Does he have a radiate? He's got a radiate. Oh, good split though. Beautiful split from eonzerg, and he's just making more Mutalisks, guys. He's making more mutas. He's working on a Hydralisk den here at the 10.5-minute mark, but he's only got 16 drones. I mean, this is the epitome of sacrificing army for economy as a Zerg player in the early stages of the game, and you really kind of have to win with this or do a ton of damage with it, or you're not going to win. It has a lifespan. This particular strategy does, and that's it. It's over for eonzerg. He taps out. He knows his economy is in the toilet. He never got a third base established. He had it up for about 4 seconds before Flash killed it, and no matter how many SCVs he kills, he's always going to be down at this stage. And eventually there's just going to be too many Marines for the Mutalisks to cut it. He doesn't really have time to tech up to lurkers at this stage and go for a third base. And without the lurkers, he can't really defend a third base when that big old push of +1 Marines with science vessel support shows up. So he went for the big Mutalisk attack. He did not go for the third base with the traditional lurker timings, and he paid for it. Flash read it perfectly, had enough missile turrets and enough Marines to handle it, lost a bunch of turrets, replaced them when he could, and just kept his cool, which is how you win games of StarCraft. Beautiful. Beautifully executed there by Flash. End of the day, 42,000 points, 43,000 to 37,000. Looking at 67 Terran units killed, which is a ton of units killed, but look how many he produced. 122 Terran units got produced in just 10 minutes, which is amazing. His kill-death ratio is not good, but he just produced enough that it was okay. And then end of the day, mined a whole bunch more minerals and spent about 1,000 more than the Zerg player, and it was more cost efficient. And that's how you win. That is how you win, ladies and gentlemen. Beautiful. All right. Well, that's going to be it from me. This has been Falcon Paladin coming at you with yet another edition of StarCraft Brood War Remastered. Go ahead, hit that like button, hit that subscribe if you like what you saw and what you heard today. You can also catch me on Twitter, Facebook, Patreon, and Twitch, all at /Falcon Paladin. And until next time, as always, thank you so much for watching, and you take care of yourself.